Michelle would rather have blood on her fingers than make small talk with an Uber driver at 6 in the morning.
Wake up, rethink the status quo. When you get your money right, then you're the one who runs your life. Come build a wealthy spirit with Sammy and Michelle.
How do we be frugal and still manifest abundance?
Great question.
Our friend Sean brought this up at Summit of Greatness, and he had a really great point. I was telling him about what our podcast was about, and his face immediately changed. I told him about how it's about saving a good portion of your income and investing it. And he said, saving money is great, but it's like, how do you save money without having a scarcity mindset? And I thought this was a great question because I realized that when I save money, I actually never have a scarcity mindset. And I think there are ways to save money and have an abundance mindset versus viewing saving money as a way of sacrificing, as a way of scarcity. I agree. Thinking like that is not going to lead to abundance in any manner.
Sammy, this is something I myself have been thinking about recently. I was thinking about buying some new clothes from Lululemon a couple months ago.
Oh, the girl wants Lululemon.
I enjoy a nice Lululemon outfit. And I was thinking to myself, should I be frugal and not spend this money? Or should I lean into the abundance mindset and buy the thing that I want? And I think that is a false dichotomy, actually. And that's why I'm really excited to dive into this topic today, because I think you can be frugal, you can be mindful, and you can still hold space for abundance. But it's a fine line, and it'll be a fun topic to discuss today.
Let's get into it.
But first, I'm so excited to talk about our partner, AirHelp. Talk about having an abundance mindset. AirHelp is here to help you if you run into a little bit of issue flying. Maybe your flight gets delayed 5 or 6 hours. You've been trapped at the airport and they're telling you, hey, we're not going to do anything for you. Hey, it doesn't have to be like that. Talk to AirHelp. They will take your information and they'll go talk to the airlines for you and see if there's anything you are entitled to through your air passenger rights. Something that's available and in place in countries like the US, Brazil, the UK. There are so many places where you can use AirHelp and see if you can get some money back after some disastrous flight story. Click the link in our show notes and bookmark it in case you find yourself in that situation.
Can you be frugal and still manifest abundance?
Sammy, this is such an important question because on this podcast, our whole idea is building a wealthy spirit, which means both managing your finances and also being aligned with your values and creating abundance and manifesting abundance. But can you manifest abundance if you're deep in a spreadsheet, if you're counting your quarters, and if you're trying to prevent yourself from doing things in order to save money? That is the question that we're really diving into today.
The answer, of course you can.
The answer is, of course you can. And also, with the wrong mindset, you can also get into a bad place too. And I think that's why it's so important to address, because we want people to be able to lean into managing their wealth and growing their wealth without losing sight of their own happiness, to be honest.
When I think about saving money, I think about what Ramit Sethi talks about, which is our rich life. The thing is, we're not just saving money, we're focusing on channeling our money from the things that we don't care so much about to the things that we do value.
Yes, when Ramit talks about a rich life, what he is talking about specifically is think about what he calls your money dials. Maybe that's your health, your car, your home, make a list of things and actually see which ones are important to you. This is basically an exercise in aligning with your values and can help you see, where do I turn up the dial and I can actually spend money on this thing like a Lululemon outfit because I love exercising, versus where can I turn it down? Eating an expensive meal out, not necessarily something I value that much anymore.
For example, I do like exercising. I spend quite a bit on ClassPass. But things I don't care about is cars. How do I distinguish cars? It's by color. Even if it's a Cybertruck, you know? I'm like matte, shiny polygon. Like literally, they mean nothing to me. I don't feel any more or less comfortable in my Honda Fit versus one of those vehicles.
I know. The worst thing is when I'm on the phone with my Uber driver, so I'm not looking at the app. And I'm like, oh, where are you? I'm looking for you. And they're like, I'm in the Nissan XL. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Is it a white car or a black car or a gray car? I don't know anything about cars.
Right. I know. I'm like the one with the hamster commercial. Like, I don't know. And I haven't watched television in 10 years. So there's just like no hope for me in the car department. But for that reason, I'm not going to buy a fancy car. I'm going to buy the most economical car, pay it off or buy it in cash, and then drive that thing payment free until it can no longer function.
If you know Sammy, you know she loves her Honda Fit. What you might not know is at least 2 people have gotten Honda Fits based off of this podcast. And I really wish we had some sort of referral code because Honda, your girls need a partnership. We are saying the good word about the Honda Fit.
The guy at the dealership had no hesitation in telling me that they make zero profit off Honda Fits. So I don't know if they would team up for an affiliate link. But I'm happy to know that other people are saving money out there.
So aligning with your values is one key part of making the trade-off between frugality and an abundance mindset. Because if you are buying things that you appreciate, but not purchasing things that you don't necessarily appreciate, maybe you're just driven by consumerism or keeping up with the Jonases, that's not an abundance mindset. That's getting kind of trapped by consumerism. So that's the first key point that we wanted to make sure we touched on.
The next thing that our friend Sean had mentioned about saving money is that when he's so fixated on saving money, he feels miserly. He feels a scarcity in his soul. And one thing I realized is that when I'm saving money, I have a freedom mindset. I do not have a scarcity mindset. In my mind, if I'm like, ooh, let me try to spend only $25 on groceries this week, I'm not like, because I'm a little peasant. No, I'm like, because this is lasting freedom for me. If I can find a way to get my nutrients with $25, that is badass and that is time freedom.
Not a real example because we shop at Costco.
Not anymore. But when I was first on my FI journey, this was a real example. And when you have things like Trader Joe's, this is completely possible.
I agree. I think that it's good to be mindful of the trade-off between money and time. Back to the car example. If you're buying a $40,000 car versus a $20,000 car, $20,000 invested can buy you a lot of time in the future. However, you have to be careful. It's funny, when we were at Camp Phi, there's this ongoing joke like, oh, I saved $5. That's 5 minutes when I'm 60 years old into my retirement. And it's funny because it's true. You can go too far. You can say, oh, every dollar I save is another minute I have where I can quit my W-2 job and I can have financial freedom. So you do want to have the balance, but it is good to be mindful that, you know, if I get that Lululemon sports bra, maybe 1 is nice. Maybe I don't need 5 because 5 could probably cover my groceries for the month.
There's another mindset, Michelle. I think of an anti-fragile mindset.
Wow, we got Nassim Sami Taleb in the building.
Exactly, Nassim Taleb. Anti-fragile is this concept that we become tougher by doing more difficult things. Like a broken bamboo stick, we become more firm the more we are actually damaged.
Didn't know that about bamboo.
I'm not 100% sure that's true.
This is true about palm trees.
There we go. Some sort of tree has this thing.
Probably all trees.
And I think about being in San Francisco and taking the train versus an Uber. For me, it's like, yes, I could take an Uber, and yes, it's cheaper to take the train. But for me, the train was not simply about the cheapness. The train was about me being the type of person who can look at the train schedule, see when it's coming, create the most effective route, and take it. Because calling an Uber, that's so cushy, you know? Like, I don't want to become so soft that I literally cannot like live anywhere other than the United States of America. I want to be a flexible person who can handle difficult situations. It actually has less to do with money and money scarcity than just wanting to be a strong and resilient person. Sure, I can take an Uber when I want to, but I don't need to always have everything be so easy for me. I can handle a little bit of small challenges and it's completely fine.
As somebody who took Caltrain, Muni, and BART in San Francisco for 5 years, I can confirm taking BART is the most anti-fragile thing you can do.
Oh yeah. Okay. Mama Varghese has become hard by taking the BART. If you want to be a hard ass motherfucker, you need to take the freaking BART.
I can tell you're not familiar because you keep saying the BART.
I didn't take the BART. I didn't take BART. I only used Muni.
That's hard too. One time I was taking Muni at like 6 or 7 a.m. and I had to change trains because there was blood in mine. And you know what? I didn't even flinch because that's train life. That all being said, I also hated waking up at 6 a.m. and then having to talk to my Uber drivers when I was on my way to a train. So there are different trade-offs.
Michelle would rather have blood on her fingers than make small talk with an Uber driver at 6 in the morning.
The final point I really love here is a little bit more of the spiritual woo side of things.
That's right. This podcast is called Build a Wealthy Spirit. We are about wealth, but we are about the spirit.
Preach. Speaking of Summit of Greatness, where we met Sean, we also saw Dr. Joe Dispenza speak. And he said something that really resonated with me, which was that you cannot come from a place of lack and also manifest abundance. I looked into this a little bit deeper because I was curious as to exactly what that means, because it resonated, but I wanted to be able to share this with all of you as well. A key thing that he points out is that when you are in a place of lack, you are waiting for some material thing to bring you a feeling. So let's say I have my Toyota, I'm driving around in my car, and I'm pretty happy. Then I see somebody has a Cybertruck. And I'm thinking to myself, that's stupid. But also, maybe I would like a Cybertruck. Maybe it's more comfortable than it seems. Maybe people would think I'm an early adopter. And so I start thinking about that Cybertruck. I think about how cool I would look, how much I can stand Elon Musk if I'm in the Cybertruck. And then
it'll bring out your round features.
And until I get that Cybertruck, I am thinking about how it will give me all of these things to fill a hole in my heart, to fill a need that I have, because it's coming from a place of lack. The difference is that when you're coming from a place of abundance, you are coming from a place of gratitude. You are coming from a place of, I already have wealth. I'm driving around in my Toyota RAV4 and I'm already in the coolest car there could be. Sammy's in her rinky-dink Honda Fit and she feels like a baller.
Pardon me.
Having abundance, you already have that feeling and you can attract more of it. And this is true. Like if you've ever wanted something so badly, you know there's like a hole in your heart for it, you know you're not going to get it. Like the universe is like, girl, you desperate. We're not giving it to you.
For me, Michelle, this reminds me of my overhead projector where we have that clear sheet that has everything that's in the present and it gets projected onto the future. From an emotional state, whatever you're feeling is just going to be amplified in the future, unless you have some sort of drastic life change, which generally involves a lot of pain. So for the most part, try to have the right mindset today, and you're going to have the right mindset and the features of life that surround that in the future. I was thinking about this, And I was actually reflecting on my past. And even though now, like, I think most people would be like, yeah, you objectively have a decent amount of wealth for your age. I actually never felt like I did not have more than enough. My entire life, even when people would objectively say that I definitely did not have enough, I always thought I had more than enough. Like, it didn't cross my radar that I was ever in lack. And I gotta give props to my parents for that, because they never projected that we had a lack. Like, they always felt like we had financial abundance. They always felt like we had more than we needed. If we weren't purchasing something, they weren't like, that's because that's a waste of money. They were like, that thing is stupid. And, that was their opinion. But I never felt like I didn't have enough money. Like, that just wasn't, like, if I felt that way, maybe it lasted a day. That was not an ongoing feeling that I ever had. And it doesn't surprise me that today I actually have more than enough, even though I still had that same feeling when I technically didn't have enough.
I love that example, Sammy. I think the feeling is so important. It reminds me of Ken Honda, who wrote Happy Money, and how whenever he pays for things, he does it with gratitude. Recently, when you're talking about being frugal or being worried about money or having a scarcity mindset, in the past couple months, have been thinking about our apartment and rent and what I'm going to do in the future for income. And I embraced Ken Honda's practice of having gratitude and embracing paying for things because you have the money to do so. So when I was paying my rent, I was like, thank you so much. I'm so happy that this money is going to this beautiful apartment that I live in. It's literally perfect. I have a view of the trees. I only have one neighbor. They're nice. I live with my sister. It's clean. I love everything about my apartment, and I am more than happy to write a check for this.
As Ken Honda would say, arigato.
Arigato. And I think that mindset helps you because you can be frugal, but at the same time, be grateful. And I do think gratitude is actually the key aspect of what can shift you from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Takeaways.
Takeaways for this episode. We can be frugal and manifest abundance. It's all about how you look at things. First, align with your values. Don't spend on things you don't care about. If you want things, focus on those things, but don't throw your money everywhere. Do what you want. As Dave Ramsey says, we spend money we don't have, buying things we don't need, trying to impress people we don't like.
That's also not an abundance mindset.
Yes, we don't need to do that. We spend on what we want, and we don't spend on the things we don't care about. 2, check your mindset. Approach your money saving from a freedom mindset. You're buying yourself time when you save money. Approach money saving from an anti-fragile mindset. You're not just saving money because you want to hoard money like a miserly person. No, you want to be resilient and you want to be tough. And yes, you could make your life super soft with all the money that you have, or you could be the type of person who can handle some mild difficulties easily. And lastly, remember that what we think and believe today, that emotional state that we have today, is just going to be projected onto our future 10x or more. So come from a place of gratitude and abundance. There is no reason that today you cannot feel in your body that gratitude and abundance. That has nothing to do with your external. That is completely mental. So come from a place of gratitude and abundance.
Community time.
Before we say goodbye, it's our community time.
Sam said that he loved our net worth episode, and he has been tracking his net worth since age 21. And despite the fact he wasn't always perfect about tracking his expenses, he felt like focusing on the net worth and the bigger picture is what has allowed him to build wealth today.
Talk about focusing on abundance over frugality.
Amen.
Kat requested an episode on how to prepare your children financially, 529s and whatnot. If this is something you're interested in, let us know. We can do a little bit of a deep dive and get familiar ourselves. Sammy and I don't have children, but maybe we can find an expert or do a little research on our part. Let us know if you have any thoughts on being frugal versus manifesting abundance. BuildAWealthySpirit.com. You can leave a comment or respond to the newsletter you receive from us.
And most importantly, be sure to join us next time as we put down the rule book and we rethink the status quo.